Interestingly, I've discovered that today there is a lot of good work that is happening out there. There is a lot of pockets of success. So let's continuously create these platforms to also share the good work that's doing. Whilst the academic are busy researching, busy trying to find definitions of whether it's work integrated learning or work-based learning or whatever, let's get on doing what we believe is WIL. And then as we go along, we'll incorporate all that comes from the academia. Right. Moving faster into the significance of WIL as far as literature is concerned, I've picked up two critical important areas. That WIL is career focused learning, which integrates theoretical knowledge with workplace practical application. It's been confirmed by the speakers today. They further on say, effective WIL plays a key role in the employability and readiness of graduates to contribute to the world of work. That's what we had today. So my talk was just focusing on towards effective WIL in South Africa. But as I do that, let me just touch briefly on policy and strategy in South African context. I must say, we already have got quite sound building blocks towards WIL policy framework in South Africa. If you could look at the National Skills Development Strategy, now I'm talking from the SETA environment and skills development system in South Africa, look into that. And further on, look into the white paper on post-school education. And look into the articulation of CHE on WIL. Then you begin to say, we have got building blocks towards a policy framework. Why are we not getting it now tabled so that we can move from that direction? But this is one of such events that I think is creating an enabling environment for the development and enhancement of the policy framework in South Africa for WIL. Having said that, I wouldn't like to bore you much with what NSDS 3 says, but I think it's crucial to just cite some of the things just to show you how really the thought is driving and very much focused into WIL. It says, increasing access to occupationally directed learning programs is one of its goals. And to me, that's nothing other than just WIL, what we're talking about today. Responsive to industry sector skills needs and priorities. How can you talk curriculum at university leaving the industry out? Come on, wake up. Academics, you don't need to do research about that. It's a fact. It's there. Get industry around the table, sit with them, reason with them, and develop and design the curriculum that speaks to their needs and deal with the expectations of the very beneficiaries, that is the learners we are targeting, and prepare them for readiness of that what industry needs. Coming secondly now to what I believe is the important role of SETA, Sector Education and Training Authorities. For the benefit of the colleagues that are coming from elsewhere, outside the country, we've got an institutional framework here on skills development system of South Africa, where we've established sector education and training authorities that are sector focused. We've got 21 of them. I'm representing here the wholesale and retail sector. There is manufacturing, there is food bev, there is agriculture, etc., etc. But what we're still lacking with these institutions is an integrated approach towards WIL. Let's get together, colleagues. Let's collaborate and partner. We've heard today that the success of WIL is based on collaboration and partnership. And if we try to do certain things in a silo way, we won't succeed. Let's sit around the table and put together all our investment and resources together, and we'll make such a meaningful impact and create more sustainability in the implementation of WIL. What I believe to be the role of SETAs here, I challenge you. I've seen very few of them. I was expecting to see all 21 SETAs meaningfully participating into these sessions. But the door is still open. The train is moving, but there's still space. Come on board. This is the time. It's only now. Let's now move towards effective and efficient delivery of will. Not debating terminology and etc., etc. Work with institutions of learning and employers to place students. SETA's role. Facilitate the placement of learners. Engage with industry. I'm representing the wholesale and retail sector. One of my key tasks now is to facilitate this will in the wholesale and retail industry. Let me start engagement and interaction with them so that they can see the value on investment of will, how it can contribute towards the bottom line, the profit and loss, the balance sheet of the company. Because we have heard today from our honorable speaker sharing with us the Thailand experiences, his own company experiences, how it has contributed to the generating more and increased investment into that company and generating more revenue as such. Provide assistance to employers to determine suitable projects for student placements. Advise and engage in work placements within the relevant legislative framework. Of course, we've indicated the issue of labor legislation in South Africa. So we need to be clear as to who do we regard as an employee, who do we regard as a student placed into an industry for the purposes of will, so that we don't create confusion and ambiguity in the process. So labor should also, labor in terms of labor unions and organized bodies should then be taken on board and be part of this process so that we deal with those kind of ambiguities, we clarify the roles and the support that we need from each party. Offer advice to employers throughout the work placement process. You cannot just be involved right from the beginning and it ends there as sitters. Be part of the process from the start to the finish, right to the end. Because there should be ongoing monitoring, there should be ongoing engagement and trying to improve the process as we go along. And offer incentives for placement opportunities. Incentivize it. How would we expect companies to allocate dedicated coaches and mentors if we are not coming on board and say to companies, we are willing to meet with you into this process? So we need to direct some of our investments towards incentivizing will. Let it be attractive. Let's understand for a dedicated mentor or coach in the workplace, there should be some financial rewards and acknowledgement of that additional role and responsibility that we are assigning to that particular employee of the organization. Manage employer expectations as well as the students' expectations quite well. Those induction processes are quite crucial because you begin to assess and understand the expectations on behalf of the students that you are intending to place and those of the employers. By the way, getting all parties around from that very first instance is crucial. But what we have seen from our various ways of implementing and delivering will in South Africa, from the pockets of success that have been shared and are still to be shared, even tomorrow and the other day, you will notice that will is quite beneficial to students in various ways. They gain employment more easily. That is, those who go through will, really, it's a fact. Research is confirming that, but practical and real experiences that were shared with us here are proving that to be a fact. Adapt better in the workplace. That is, the learners, they adapt better in the workplace environment if they have gone through this process. Once now they become employees in an organization, they easily associate and find it easy to mingle in the cultures, different cultures of the organization because of the previous exposure through will. They fit better into the workplace environment. I'm moving towards now the end of my long speech. But nevertheless, there are some issues that we should take note of as we are progressing towards delivery and efficient and effective will implementation. Some of the issues is lack of understanding of the meaning and importance of will. And you could see that from the debates that are coming from universities, etc., perhaps maybe I can safely say there are true lack of understanding of what is the meaning of this will. So there are various interpretations, but we must try to get our minds focused and begin to read from the same page and understand what we can make out of what we are doing for the benefit of the students out there and for the benefit of our various countries and for the Africa as a continent. Because I believe we are setting the trend for the continent as we are gathered here today. So it's the way to go. There is no other way. There is no learning where you can separate theory, practice, and the workplace. These remain the three critical components of any effective and efficient learning to take place. Trying to talk simulations and begin to think that it replaces the workplace, you are dreaming, honestly. Inadequate opportunities for placements, we need to address that. There is still inadequate opportunities for placement. But I think one of the ways we should address this is to focus more into small and medium enterprises. Because if you are more into large, we're still gonna find opportunities very, very limited. But if you can see that in the African continent, various researches and theories and academics are sharing with us that the small and medium enterprises are the main drivers of economic growth. So it justifies that now, if we can direct our efforts and try to have a model that would suit them, that would enable them to have a meaningful contribution and feel being part of this WIL initiative that we are driving. Lack of support to employers. We can't just be requesting them to open doors and we don't follow up, we don't identify the gaps and provide the necessary support required and think that they are just going to run with it because they've offered the workplace. It cannot be. Lack of mentorship and coaching at workplace. That's very critical. For each and every individual learner place or student place, there must be a mentor that's attached to that particular student. Misalignment to industry needs, growth and development strategy of the industry. Lack of mentoring, of monitoring and evaluation. We need to have a tracking mechanism. Let's monitor, let's evaluate, let's assess the impact. So which means let's have the before and the after kind of situational analysis so that we can assess the meaningful impact so as to encourage those who are standing by and watching and theorizing about what we are doing and looking at all the negative aspects of it to begin to see there is an impact. Let's get involved. This thing is really working. There are barriers to hosting students, like concerns with capacity for mentorship. It's been raised by industry from our engagement with industry in the retail sector, for instance. Being able to identify suitable projects for learners, that requires innovation and creativity that was shared with us today, to be able to identify suitable projects for learners at a company level. Limited infrastructure and financial resources. Hence, I'm encouraging and challenging the sitters that let's put together our resources to make a meaningful contribution so that this issue of limited, especially financial resources, to incentivize and to create a workplace environment that will be conducive towards effective implementation of WIL. The other critical areas that are challenging aspects of WIL in the South African context is that of identification of appropriate work sites and projects, locating students, and quality of student performance. But I lay the blame here squarely right from basic education in our country. We need to get it right. Let's fix it at that level. We cannot expect that at higher education level we can begin to do things right and perfectly well. So which means The basic education policies and implementation thereof must talk to higher education policies and implementation thereof. There should be an alignment of strategies throughout, linking now to the organizational strategies. You cannot do without industry involvement, right from basic education. If you think career guidance is something that should happen at grade 11 and grade 12, forget it. We're not going to win. Let's go back to basic education level and implement it more meaningfully there. But moving forward then towards recommendation and closure of this long talk is to say, within the policy framework, I would appreciate if the DHET representative is still here. There are 4 critical components that I would like you to consider in the development and finalization of the policy. Standardization, assessments, funding model, incorporation of a model that will be talking to small and medium enterprises at a policy level. I know we South Africans are very good at policy development, but our challenge is still on implementation. That's why I encourage those who have already started, whether you are not certain or not sure about what you are doing, whether it's perfect or what, but do it anyway. Do it. And participate, share, you will be improving it as you go along. The other area, the higher education and training institutions, the universities, and the TVET institution should develop and enhance strategies for effective WIL with both large and small enterprises being involved. The other area is a shared understanding of WIL through various education policies from basic to higher education level and the processes and procedures. Let's deal with the issue of red tape, the issue of paperwork, the administrative burden that we impose to companies when they want to participate. If we can reduce that administrative burden, I think we'll get more meaningful participation of companies. Remember, companies are all about, for instance, let me make an example of retail. I just want to get this product out of the shelf as much as possible and make money out of it. So if you have to bore me now with a lot of paperwork and administration that I must follow to be part of such good initiative, then that's something else. And above all, you are not even providing resources to enable that to happen. So you mean now that I must divert my resources that are aimed at profit making into something that's going to be for the benefit of the country, good as it is, as part of social investment, it could be done, but it must not just be a social investment initiative. It must be the core of the company human resource development strategy and strategy to enhance growth and development in the country. I would really believe that if we look and unpack the National Development Plan, Vision 2030 in South Africa, you can see it might not be straightly talking to WIL and referring to it as such, but if you look at its goals and objectives, it's all about enhancing employability through work integrated learning, because it talks to job creation. And this is just one of the best mechanisms to do that. Let's make sure that we continuously evaluate the impact of what we are doing and share those practices. With those few words, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the evening. I'm looking forward to the next year.
The University of Johannesburg. Rethink, reinvent.